Alice Through the Looking Glass picks up where Alice in Wonderland left off. But this time, Alice must travel through time to save the Mad Hatter.
Alice travels back in time using the chronosphere, a device controlled by time, Sacha Baron Cohen.
And today we are making the Red Queen starts from the film Alice Through the Looking Glass.
A bit of it is more than enough to cover for everything.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Film and Flavor. I'm Zain Hasan.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Ahmed Zayani.
Today, we're exploring a world full of wonders and lovely imagination. It is Alice Through the Looking Glass, the 2016 fantasy adventure film and the sequel to Alice in Wonderland 2010.
Directed by James Bobbin and produced by Tim Burton, this film is based on Lewis Carroll's 1871 novel Through the Looking Glass and what Alice found there. I couldn't be more thrilled to talk about this movie. Disney, we cover that throughout the different episodes of the show. I'm a Disney fan, you're a Disney fan. What makes Alice Through the Looking Glass different?
Well, Alice in general is a character that I hold very near and dear to my heart because she's just, first of all, she's smart and she's funny, but she can also be very, let's say, in her own head.
All right.
And that can sometimes come as a positive thing, but in her case, there were some negatives that came along with it. And what I truly loved about, especially the first film, is how they managed to incorporate the characters from her actual life and the characters from Wonderland to look and have the same characteristics. So let's say, for example, the twins.
Some WD and let's just say WD.
Dumbledee and Dumbledoo.
Let's go with that. Yes.
Bubbledy, something like that. The two twins. She also
Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Tweedledee and Tweedledum were actually based on two twins from Alice's real life. I believe they played the two twins in the beginning of the film.
Yeah,
so I like how they kind of played with that idea that she wasn't truly in Wonderland. She was still in her own head.
Or the matter of the Hatter. The former. No, the latter.
Tweedles.
He's mad.
The Hatter?
Because the theory about the book and I believe the animated film is that this isn't really Alice going to Wonderland, but rather like a hallucination or a dream that she's having. It's kind of similar to the argument that Dorothy never went to the Land of Oz, right?
Exactly. Dorothy and Alice are characters that are so similar that share the same storylines as well. Dorothy is also very much like Alice, I believe.
More or less,
in terms of like imagination and, but I feel like Dorothy's a bit more grounded, I'd say.
I think Dorothy is the more
realistic one?
Wouldn't say resisting, but limited, I guess, in terms of her emotional scope. I think that with Alice, I don't know, maybe it's because she's younger, I guess. She's able to indulge more in Wonderland.
Yeah.
Or what was it that they called Wonderland in the live action films? Underland or?
Underland, yes. They called it Underland. Speaking of the Wonderland characters, who is your favorite character?
Oh, like we're talking about animated film or live action?
I think we should mainly focus on the live action one for now.
All right, okay, that's fair. I mean, I'm a Johnny Depp fan, so the Mad Hatter has to be up there.
All right.
But I will also say the caterpillar.
Yeah.
Just because Alan Rickman did an amazing job with the voice.
Yes.
And he is one of the icons of, these last 20 years, and he is missed dearly when it comes to film.
Yes, I agree with you. One of my favorite characters in the Alice in Wonderland films would probably have to be the Red Queen herself, none other than Helena Bonham Carter. She played that role so perfectly, and I don't think they could have picked a better person to represent the Red Queen. She was funny, she was chaotic, and I just love any scene that had to do with the Red Queen. So I watched it mainly because of the Red Queen.
And I love the way they realized her in the movie.
Yes.
You would assume they're gonna go with a specific look based on the animated film, but then the design that they went with for the live action one is very creative.
Yeah.
It
had a story of its own, I believe.
They did, huh?
Her big head had something to do with the fact that she's evil or something?
Yes, I think it came about in the second one, right? How they when they were talking about her backstory.
Yeah.
Hard.
And yeah, so I just truly enjoyed any Red Queen scene in the film, and especially when she would just like execute anyone at any given moment. It's like off with their head for any small tiny mistake, which I thought was pretty funny because it's like so in character. So yeah.
My lord is expecting you in the parlor. Shall I announce you?
Oh, never mind. I'll announce myself. Where are you?
Oh, it is ridiculous, but at the same time, ridiculous is something that Tim Burton is very fluent in, and I love that wherever he goes, he always has his posse with him, you know?
Yes.
And I love when a director does that, when he has cast and crew that he's familiar with. That makes for a more comfortable experience, a more comfortable film that we, as the audience, also are able to appreciate in that sense.
Yes, he always has a way with making his films sound very beautiful and magical, but for some reason always have this really weird underlying storyline, like from within. Like you have to dig deep to actually understand what the story is trying to convey to the audience.
It's like a childhood nightmare, right?
Yeah.
It's something that's
Fever dream.
wide-eyed. Yeah, exactly. Fever dream. Absolutely. You nailed it with that.
The story follows Alice Kingsley, played by Mia Wasikowska, as she returns to the whimsical world of Wonderland. She must save the Mad Hatter, Johnny Depp, who is depressed over the loss of his family. To achieve this, Alice travels back in time using the Chronosphere, a device controlled by time, Sacha Baron Cohen. Along the way, Alice uncovers the origins of several characters, including the sibling rivalry between the Red Queen, Erasabeth, and the White Queen, Mirana.
In this film, there's more to the story than just the Mad Hatter and Wonderland. There's a deeper emotional journey.
Exactly. It's a journey of rediscovery, especially when it comes to the Red Queen, who harbors some deep emotional wounds from her past. But we're not just talking about the plot today. We are going to recreate those tarts and taste them ourselves.
Yes, Alice Through the Looking Glass picks up where Alice in Wonderland left off. But this time, Alice must travel through time to save the Mad Hatter. Along the way, she faces an emotional revelation about the Red Queen's past, which changes everything we thought we knew about the Red Queen. The film takes us on a journey of self-discovery with stunning visuals, incredible performances, and of course, the whimsical and often absurd world of Wonderland.
One of the most pivotal aspects of the film is the tart scene, which brings us into the Red Queen's past. This scene is more than just about a simple dessert. It's about a deep-seated trauma that shaped the Red Queen's hatred and bitterness.
The moment that truly shaped her future came with a simple tart. Her parents always favored her sister, which built a deep resentment in the Red Queen's heart. As a child, she was always accused of eating a tart that her sister had actually eaten. In a moment of injustice, her mother sided with her sister, and the Red Queen, feeling betrayed and unheard, ran away in distress. It was during this escape that she fell and hit her head, which made her head become swollen.
You're eating all the tarts.
You can have the crust.
I don't want the crust.
If you can't get along, there'll be no more tarts for either of you. Now, out of my kitchen.
Stuart?
It's a metaphor for how, over time, her pain, anger, and bitterness expanded, ultimately leading her to become the evil figure we see later in the film. Now, we get to recreate the iconic tarts from the film. Let's see how Chef Ali Yosif will make them for us today.
Hi everyone, I'm Chef Ali Yosif, and today we are making the Red Queen tarts from the film Alice Through the Looking Glass. To begin with, let me introduce you to my small ingredients. Got lemon, sugar, and strawberries, and also you will need buff pastry, and you will need toothpick and foil. To begin with, you will need to put this on high heat to start with. Sugar, and then we'll add the strawberries. Let's squeeze lemon on it. I like small lemon or got bottled lemon. I prefer fresh. Now it's ready, you can look at it. Just keep mixing it, make sure all the sugar is melted. We're going to take the pastry. You will need star cutter. Dough cutter, it's the size, it depends on how you like it, how big it is. It could be smaller or bigger. That's the way you like it. You will take foil, make it ball. You see it? You will take a toothpick, put it in there, right? And we will do that for the rest of it. Right, now this is how it is. We'll put it in the oven until it gets brown and fluffy, and then we'll take it out. Our pastry is ready. It's brown, and that's how you want it. Let me take it out so you can see it. Now, gently, we're going to put the jam that we have made. And this is it. This is your strawberry tart. And now you have these amazing tarts ready. You can make them easily at home in your any occasions.
Welcome back. These tarts look absolutely incredible. Are you excited to try them out?
I really am, yes. I've had my eye on this one, actually.
All right.
Just pluck this off. You know what? Have you seen the latest Suicide Squad movie?
I have, yet. Is it The Suicide Squad,
The
which came out in
Suicide Squad,
2021?
yes.
Yeah.
Doesn't it look like Monstro from that movie?
It does,
right?
yes. It resembles it in a
See
way.
him just walking. You want to take a bite?
All right, sure. I'll give it a try.
Good. Let's try this. I love how flaky this is. I was worried that the compote or the jam that he used might not be enough. It's actually sweet enough that it just a bit of it is more than enough to cover for everything.
I mean, I like how there's like very deep lore when it comes to this dish. Like it's not just like a regular strawberry tart. It actually affected a relationship that between two sisters that it's over something so small. It's over tarts. And tarts are supposed to be happy and they're supposed to bring people together and they're supposed to create bonding memories between loved ones.
Tarts are fun, right?
They're fun, yeah. So to have it, you know, like to correlate it with something so sad is heartbreaking.
Like this dish brought on the origins of one of Disney's most prolific villains.
Yes, and I mean, the whole rivalry between them over something so small fascinates me because it just shows you how it shows you so much about their personalities as well. Because one thing that I've noticed was in the first film, okay, this is probably a hot take, I did not really like the White Queen.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know, something about, she was just so weird to me. Who makes soup with fingers and weird, like she just made a lot of weird noises and she would always act very awkward. I don't know how to describe it. She just didn't really sit right with me. I knew something was up with her. And I was so happy when the lore was finally revealed in the second film. And I was like, that's exactly why something didn't feel right with her. So that's like, I was like, I told you so to my sisters.
You know, I'll say this. I like the White Queen, but it could also be my teenage inhibitions finding the attractive actress very alluring. So there
Anne
is
Hathaway.
that. Yes. So there's that.
All right. I mean,
so I am biased probably in
Yeah.
my liking of her.
yeah, probably. But other than that, what do you think of the Red Queen? I mean, I already told you my thoughts about her, but what do you think?
I did not expect her to become like a sympathetic figure in the second film. I did not expect to see her in the second film at all. Because if you look back to the marketing of the movie, she was not part of it at the least bit.
Yeah.
Because all the focus was on the Mad Hatter and him becoming depressed and Alice trying to bring him back to what he used to be.
Yeah.
So to see the Red Queen just popping up there, that was a pleasant surprise.
It was, yeah.
And I did not expect to find her being so sympathetic. And the origin of how her head is so grotesque and bloated.
Yeah, but that was a pretty funny take. Like it was a funny way to kind of, but I also like the meaning behind it. Like I mentioned earlier, it is a metaphor to how her anger and her frustration slowly expanded as the years passed by. So it's all just built up anger. The way that she acts is a reflection of how her family treated her. She's simply misunderstood.
Slayer, my Jabba baby walking. The very reason why I have been banished from my kingdom.
That, Alice?
And I will say that it was heartbreaking as well.
Yeah.
Like, and I didn't, after seeing the first movie and the animated feature, I did not expect to sympathize with that person, you know?
Yeah.
And to me, I like my villains evil.
Yeah.
I like to have villains that you don't root for, that they're evil because they are simply evil.
For sure, yeah.
So to see the Red Queen being sympathetic, that was that required me to get used to it a bit.
Yeah. But I always knew she had a bit of sympathy in her, because there was a scene in the first film where she was talking to the guard. I forgot his name with the eye patch.
Crispin Glover. I don't know the name of the character.
The name of the character. She was talking to him, and she truly did love him, and he ended up betraying her. But that showed you that she did have place in her heart for love. She'd just never been loved back properly. So to see that represented in a children's movie was quite emotional.
And beautiful as well.
Yeah.
The filling is the perfect balance of sweet and tangy, and the fruit is fresh and vibrant. It really captures the duality we see in the Red Queen. There's sweetness and there's a little bit of tartness too. I feel like I'm tasting both the past and the present in each bite.
Exactly. There is a real complexity to this tart. The pastry is light, buttery, and comforting, but the feeling has a real punch, just like the Red Queen's emotional journey. There's also something beautiful about this tart. It's a reminder that there was once sweetness in her life, a time before everything became clouded by anger and resentment. This dessert truly captures the essence of her character's transformation.
Speaking of the story, do you think that Alice could have changed the past if she traveled back in time again? Or would fate always intervene with the events? Do you believe that the past is changeable? Or do you think it's like Back to the Future, where if you go back, you can change something, but there are things that are destined to happen?
I feel like, in a way, Alice was in that, whatever you can call it, however you may think of it, dimension, or if it was just her hallucination, whatever it was, it meant something to Alice. And she needed to go through that at that moment in her life, because she was already going through a lot of hardships in her real life, that she needed to go to her imaginary life to kind of think this through. And it taught her so many things about the person that she is and how brave she can be, and that she should never limit herself, a sort of character development for her. So I don't think that she was meant to go back to Wonderland to change the events in her real life. I think that she was just supposed to learn things, valuable lessons in Wonderland, and try to adapt some of them into her day-to-day life. So not to just change everything.
The past is written.
Yeah.
And if we're gonna get into alternate timelines and whatnot, we're gonna be here all day. But I do think there are things that are destined to happen regardless. I know a lot of media focuses on that. But by going to the past, she was able to learn more about herself and about the people in Wonderland, both those that she cares about and those that she might otherwise have looked down on.
For sure. And I mean, a part of how she learned her lessons in Wonderland was she, in her day-to-day, in her real life, people kept telling her this, Alice, you're too into your head, you say a lot of odd things, but that's the whole point of Alice. She's an odd character, she's weird and she's fun and she's exciting, that's what makes her her. So when she went back to Wonderland and she started bringing those thoughts in, and when she was speaking to Mad Hatter in that one scene, and Hatter goes and says to her, you were much more muchier, you have lost your muchness. And I thought that was a really, even though it didn't really say much, he wasn't really saying much, it said so much about their dynamic, because to him, to the Mad Hatter, Alice was this extraordinary being, and she was fun, she was everything amazing. But to Alice, she was just trying to ground herself because of what people kept repeating to her entire life. So she kind of took that thought and tried to change, I guess, or tried to go back to her roots.
She just went with it, right?
Yeah.
And like I said, it didn't say much, but it spoke volumes, right?
It did. Thank you so much for watching us, and of course, a huge thanks to Chef Ali Yosif for making these very tasty tarts. Food really does have the power to tell a story, and this tart has reminded us of the complexities of love, loss, and transformation. In Carol's original works, tarts are a recurring motive. Famously linked to the nursery rhyme, The Queen of Hearts, she made some tarts. In the film, the tarts carry forward this reference while adding emotional depth to the Red Queen's backstory.
Yes, whether it's a sweet moment or a bitter memory, food has the ability to take us on an emotional journey. And just like the Red Queen story, sometimes we need to taste a little bit of both to understand the whole picture. Thank you for watching us today, and see you next time with another film and another dish. Goodbye.